Hey there once again, Wildcat fans. How is it going? Welcome back to another LC Coaches Show. I am Brad Welburn as always, and glad to be joined once again here, our last couple shows before the end of the year, by our women's basketball coach, Patrece Carter, as we kind of chat about a pair of ASC matchups last week and kind of a light week for you guys this week, but we'll get into maybe a little bit some early thoughts on the next week's games, which we'll talk about in more detail next time. But we got a lot to discuss from last week as you guys played your first pair of games in the Repeats Coliseum. We talked about it last week, the exciting moments and things like that, gearing up for it, and then kind of fell flat a little bit. A tough loss in that first game on Thursday to McMurray. So outside of the game itself, was it what you thought it would be coming in, playing in this new venue? It's a lot bigger space. Obviously you practiced there a few times, but playing a game a little bit different than practice. So was it similar to what you thought it would be, or different, or what?
Yeah, there weren't any surprises. We've played in a lot of different venues. We talked about the different games that we played early on, the different places we played. So. No, I don't think the venue change had anything to do with it. It was just all the mental aspect of that game. The Repeats Coliseum was as great as we thought it was going to be. The experience was good. Other than the loss, I have no complaints about it.
Yeah. So talk about that McMurray game specifically a little bit. A lot of different players saw a lot of different time. You talked about the mental aspect of that game. Was that the biggest thing that kind of led to the loss?
Definitely. It was definitely a mental thing. That game, my kids didn't have a whole lot of energy. They didn't have a whole lot of, I guess you would say, oomph. There was no push. There was no urgency. There wasn't any of that we've seen in the previous 5 games. And so what happens is we have a team that pretty much did everything right. They locked down on defense. They keyed in on my key players, and we just couldn't overcome that.
So why do you think that was? I mean, was it the fact that you played some tough games coming in? It was the first ASC game. It was the first Coliseum game. Was it just a combination of a bunch of things?
It's one thing you don't want to admit as a coach. I have no idea. Usually you'll have 1 or 2 players that mentally may check out from time to time, especially when you're coaching young people. I've never had a squad where my top 8 all checked out. I honestly don't know, and they came back the next game with the fire that we had been playing, so I don't know if they needed a break or, that wasn't the right time to take it. But I honestly can't speak to it. They couldn't articulate, and I couldn't put my finger on just one thing that may have caused them all to just mentally not be ready for that game.
Well, like you mentioned, the good thing is, especially with these kind of setups, you had another opportunity to kind of fix it, so to speak, in just 2 days later against Hardin-Simmons. And certainly it seemed that way early. Brooke Jones came out of the gate on fire. I think she scored the first 9 points something of the game. And I think it was an interesting game because it was the team makeups were kind of similar. They had two really good inside presence and some good guards, just like we do. And so it was kind of made sense that the game was tight all the way through.
We expected that. This league is guard heavy. We're one of the few teams that have a major post presence. And so when we looked at the lineup, we looked at game film and how they played, I thought, it was going to be a tight game. I didn't expect it to be a blowout one way or the other just because we were so evenly matched. And it was funny because everything they did, we answered probably in the same way. Everything we did, they answered. Brooke would go down and she'll score on their post players. Their post players will come down and score on us. So it was a fun game to coach. I know definitely a fun game to watch. Brooke came up big. She scored the first 9. I think she scored the last 6 that put us over the top. So it was a great game for her, especially coming back off that loss from McMurray.
Yeah, like you said, the first 9, and then she got a layup that tied the game. On the other end, she got a steal. And then got the fast break layup to put us ahead. So I think she scored 24 points in the game.
She did.
One of like 3 or 4 players that got in double figures, but it came down to the end, and I think you said in a post-game interview that, and you've heard coaches say it across all divisions and leagues and levels, that championship teams find a way to win.
They found a way to win.
And that's what you guys did on Saturday.
We did. We were 0 for 17 from the 3-point line. Even statistically, you should hit 1 or 2 3-pointers. So
just by luck.
By luck, it should go in. And so when I looked at that stat line, I was like, wow, we hit a lot of 2-pointers. You're scoring 70 points. just on 2-point jumpers.
Yeah.
So I was really proud for that. And then championship teams, they're going to find a way. If you're not shooting well on the outside, my kids are coached. They know you need to get to the rim. But it's kind of difficult to pass up a wide open 3-pointer.
Yeah.
And so we just start pounding it inside, getting to the rim, and making defensive stops. That's what really put us over the top. When we made defensive stops when we needed to.
Mm. And, the thing I think that maybe separated you towards the end from Hardin-Simmons, though, obviously you have Brooke and Z that are able to, and they live around the rim, but
Correct.
you add Courtney and Janae who are able to drive the basket and able to finish,
Right.
better than I think some of their guards were able to.
Absolutely. That's I know a lot of points that we get from our guards are just because they're simply athletic and very talented guards. Even when we're looking forward and recruiting, I have to find guards that are able to replace that are able to do that. Because I tell them that's not coaching. That's just you being mentally strong enough to get to the rim and then finish. I also want to bring up Janika Walton, who had 12 rebounds in that game.
She was huge.
The girl was a beast. I've seen her do that. Everyone else has not, so I was glad they were able to see. She can do that on a consistent basis. Around I missed a fouling, I missed a slapping, I missed 3 or 4 people around. She's not letting go of that ball. And she's looking for her guard to get it to. So, she kept us in. When my kids were playing great defense, you can play great defense, but if you don't block out and get a rebound, it's all for nothing.
Yeah.
She cleaned it up every single time she was there. If she wasn't rebounding, she was tipping it to one of my kids.
Yeah.
So she was very big in that win.
And it seemed like, I'm glad you brought her up because I had totally forgotten about it, but I think she had 12 rebounds. I think almost like all of them were offensive rebounds,
Right.
so at least it seemed like that way.
Right, yeah.
So
she was
big
just
time.
an animal.
Yeah.
And she does that to us on the regular in practice. And I'm like, I'm so glad you picked
You're
this
all right,
game to
baby.
show up and do it. Yeah.
Well, let's move into this week. Like you said, or like I said, kind of an off week. No real games to really prepare for this week. But you got 2 coming up next weekend: Sul Ross and Howard Payne. So, what is, I guess, the focus of this week as you kind of maybe a little bit lighter week because of finals and that sort of stuff, but still trying to get ready for those next pair of games?
Well, this week we've used practice as kind of a stress release from the finals. So we've gone about an hour and a half, 2 hours. A lot of it is shooting. Yesterday we worked specifically on defense, different ways, different combinations, trying different people. Now is the time where I'm trying to find, really, I guess, deepening my bench, giving them some more reps than they normally would have because we have the time. Just trying to develop those kids so that at any time they can step in and give us help where we're needed. Looking forward to next week. Sul Ross and Howard Payne, it's going to be another good matchup. They always come in with great athletes. And it's funny because, with my big girls, I have an advantage because my big girls are so strong, but I have a disadvantage if I'm playing a team with 5 guards, meaning they have to guard a guard. So over the next couple of days, that's really going to be a point of emphasis, is getting my post players out and defending perimeter and being able to cut someone off before they get to the rim.
Yeah. And if you haven't made plans yet for next Saturday, I highly encourage you to do that because I feel like Howard Payne is going to be a little bit upset coming in.
Upset.
As we went to their place during the conference tournament, knocked them out as a #1 seed. So they're gonna come with vengeance, I believe.
Definitely,
next Saturday.
they're gonna have revenge on their mind.
Yeah, so make your plans 2 o'clock next Saturday to be at the Coliseum for that one for sure. All right, Coach. Well, good 1-1 last week. You got off to a pretty good start in conference, and still got plenty of games to go and all that sort of stuff. So certainly some things to build on, and look forward to next week and going forward.
It'll be fun.
Absolutely. Coach, thanks again for joining me this week. We'll see you guys again next time. Remember, follow them on Twitter, LC_WBB. Their full schedule is on our website as well, lcwildcats.net. And if you can't make it to the Coliseum, remember we are streaming and live stats and all the things that you can find on our website as well, lcwildcats.net. So be sure to check that out. I'm Brad Welburn. We will see you next time.